Hello and welcome to this demo utilizing the PeopleSoft test framework. My name is Valentin Todoro. In today's session, I will show you how to record a PTF test that runs into a run control and has an online process that runs. PTF has a really nice internal function built in that allows you to run online processes, and it will automatically select the process name, grab the process instance once it's triggered, goes into process manager, and then of course it will look up the status, clicking refresh until it's reached the expected state. So we'll go ahead and we'll start the recording. We'll of course begin again with my folder. We'll record all of our demo tests underneath that. We'll go ahead and we'll right click on top of that and go to create test. Okay. Once we began the new test, of course, the one line on there that will always be in every single one of your tests is the browser start or the browser start login, whichever way you've chosen to authenticate into your PTF. We'll go ahead and we'll give it a test name. So we'll click on the save button, or we'll go up here to test save, and we'll do an underscore demo 2. Demo. And then, well, again, we'll initialize the recorder. This is the wizard that will always float over your browser and on top of PTF that helps you doing the recording. We'll click on the house button, which will, of course, initialize our Internet Explorer down here at the bottom. We can go ahead and maximize that for better viewing. We're not recording at this point. Always remember that. You'll have to click the record button one more time, and then when you see the green at the bottom, it is capturing. So we can go ahead and we can log in, VP1, VP1. Okay. I'll use my fluid navigation here at the side to go into Navigator. Let's go this time into purchasing, purchase orders, reports, and let's do a status listing, which is a run control. We'll go ahead and we'll create a new run control as well. And once we finish recording, I will show you a few ways that you can manipulate the way that you enter a component search page. We'll call it run a new demo. We'll populate all the required fields. English is in there. Let's do the dates. 16. Let's do it to 17. We'll give it a business unit. 1. And then we'll go ahead and press save. Okay. This is actually all the steps that we record utilizing the wizard. So what we can do is we're pretty much done at this point. We've pressed the save button. We'll go ahead and we'll press the dark blue stop button, which will of course give us our script. And now we can go ahead and close this down, the browser. But before we do that, I do want to actually just grab what the run ID is called. It's POX 4020. So I'll just copy that just so that it's in my clipboard, and I'll close the browser and the recording window, which of course takes me back to my test. And of course in the test I can manipulate, I can re-enable user ID, password, and submit buttons. These are kind of critical when you do use the browser start command. And then of course here you have your navigation. You'll notice that PTF will actually automatically disable the navigation. So this is from clicking on the side fluid navigation that's been disabled. And the reason is it sees this page prompt to the component, to the menu.component.market as an ad. So it will target that after the submit and go directly to that component automatically. You can always re-enable the navigation so that it runs through it. Let's do that actually. And then of course it enters that component. And of course the way that it enters a component, there's a couple of ways. You can right click on this add field. It will give you a prompt, and it allows you to select a few options. This is, of course, add a new value, add correct history, add an update. This is my favorite one. What it will do is it will go into a component as an add. If that, for example, run control is already there, it will just open that existing record up and manipulate it. But this takes care of adding a new one or updating an existing one. Okay. Of course, we've already created one that's existing, so we're good to go. All right. And the last step we of course have to do is the function I was talking to you about earlier, which is the process. So you can actually trigger a online process by selecting process, selecting run, and we can right click in these fields and use the actual prompts to populate. So this is looking for the process name, and as you remember earlier, I did extract that off the run modal window. So this is the process I wanted to run after I press the save. And then of course I also wanted to give me a couple of other parameters. So I wanted to wait till it's successful, wait until it finishes the process, and I also expect this to go to success. Okay, so these are the expected values. If you want a negative test, you can go no success or error if the parameters you gave it in the run control should have led to a fail, and you can select that, but everything I gave it should lead to a success, and you can click OK at that point. Okay, so these prompts help you to fill out the required elements of the function process run. Okay? These are all the modifications we have to do. There is an error in this test, and I purposely did it. It has to do with when we populated the run ID. As you can see here, after we enter the page, we're suddenly filling out the dates. Okay, so it actually skipped or missed putting in the run control ID. So this test will fail, and I want it to fail so that we can go through the debugging process and I can show you how to fix that. Okay, so we can go ahead and play this back. Of course, it will always ask you, are you sure you want to save before you play back? It requires you to save before you do any kind of playback. Okay, so it's going to run through it, and this will fail. And I purposely made it fail. Okay, so it's going to right click on nav bar, navigate all the way to that component. Okay, and at this point, it's going to fail because we never gave it a run ID. Okay, so in the log, what it's going to show you, and again, the debugging process is you start at the top, find your first red flag, and then you find the first child of that red flag, which is this date field. Object not found on page, or the access denied to the frame. Well, it couldn't find it on the page because we're actually still stuck on what is the run control ID. Okay, so usually the errors are not on the element that failed, it's the step before that that led to something not being able to find, because it was never on the page where the dates can be set and the process can be run. Okay? So there's a few ways. You can start the recorder and record this missing element, or what you can do is you can just inspect this field and you can grab the name of the field. So I just inspected it. I was able to find the name right here. It's a very simple function within all the browsers. You just right click and inspect, and it will give you the name of that field. And what we can do then manually after it's entered the component. So I toggle back to my test. After the page prompt, I'm going to actually insert two new steps. Okay? The first one is going to be text set value, because that is a text field, and the value I want to set to the run ID. So this is the run ID that I just inspected. Let's call it run underscore ID demo, because this is the value that's being passed into this field. And then of course I'm going to press the submit button, which is page prompt OK. Okay. Page prompt here is to navigate to a component, but page prompt OK is to return or submit the page. Okay. So now our test should work. We've fixed the issue of the name, giving it a run control, and then pressing OK. And now it should be able to find these date fields right here and then run our online process. Okay, so we'll go ahead. We can press save and then press play, or we can just press the play button, which automatically will request you to save it, and you can press yes at that point. Okay, it's going to of course start the log, and then it starts the execution process again. Okay, as you can see, it's running through navigation. It's going to change to an ad. It's going to fill in page prompt. It sees the result, and then it opens it. That's what that ad update did on the component. And now it's going to run the last line we just created, which is the process run. It's going to grab the process instance 11.101.558. It's going to search by that process instance, as you saw there. So the function itself does all these steps, and then every 5 seconds it's going to keep clicking refresh, and then it checks the status of that instance. So it's still queued, still queued. And we're just waiting for success because that's what we told it that we were expecting based on these values and data. There we go, it's a processing. And of course, you can control the timeouts. Okay, there we go, success was seen. That's what we wanted, and our test has finished with a green success. And you can see, if we scroll down on our log, we also have each time it's been refreshed, the final status is exactly what we expected it to be. So actual and expected. And then of course it'll also track the process instance if we ever need to capture that ID. Okay. So thank you very much for viewing this demo, and hope you have a nice day.